What's up, YouTube? In this video, I'm gonna teach you who to hire, when to hire, and how to hire. This is a very highly asked question, and I wanna share it with you in this video. All right, guys, Terrence Chister here, teaching you how to build a very profitable online business. Now, one of my students actually asked me, or clients, I should say, I know some people hate students, I do too. Clients asked me, when should you hire and in what order did you hire out? Now again, we're gonna do this pertaining to high ticket sales. When you have low ticket sales, you really don't have to hire out anything but support, maybe a couple funnel systems, etc. For those of you who don't know what a funnel is, it's basically just an ascension ladder. So the first thing the customer sees, second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way to the top. Okay, so first thing is knowing when to hire. Okay, so that's the first question, when? When should I hire? Now, I get this question a lot, especially from entrepreneurs who are growing their business and they're either scared or they're not sure when, etc. And ultimately, the answer, it's pretty simple, is when you can afford to. It's crazy. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, so in a business, as you grow and scale, you'll learn that not everything you make is profit, right? Some of it goes to ads, some of it could go to expenses or training or systems or automation. And so if you make $1 million a year, you're not gonna take home $1 million a year. And that's even without taxes. Let's say taxes don't exist, you still will not. And so the first thing I ask my clients is, can you afford to? Meaning if you're making $10,000 a month, okay, you're probably not at a level yet where you should really be hiring out too much unless it's very minimal, right? Because you really have no cash to hire out. If you make 10K in a month, and let's say you spend 2K on ads, which is a 5x return, which is insane. So let's say you get 2K on ads, okay? And then you spend like, I don't know, 500 bucks on systems, okay? And then you have your car, right? It's 1,000. Right, and blah, 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 blah. Well, when it's all said and done, you got a whopping $2,000 left. I mean, you can't. You could, but it doesn't make any sense because you barely have any money left over. So the first thing you need to do is make enough money to where you don't have to work in your business. So I'll give you an example of what happened to me. I was getting about 12 to 15 clients a month, okay, at, hopefully Isaiah can enhance this, $2,500 to, on average, because it's an average, but $2,500 to $3,500 for 4 months of fitness training. And I give a really high premium service, but if you do the math, that's anywhere between what? 30 grand and 45 grand, whatever. I'm not doing the math in my head. So when I hit that point, I could definitely afford to hire a team because I was making quite a bit of money. So when it was all said and done, if I was doing 80% profit margins or so, which I was, well, you have tons of money left over to hire with. So the first question on when to hire is when you can afford it. And you'll know when you can afford it because people go, well, how will I know? If you're asking that question, you can't. It's like asking if I can buy a Lamborghini. If you have to go and get funds and get a loan and do all these things, it's probably not a good time for you to pay for it because if you're thinking about it, you can't afford it. So first thing is when to hire, when you can afford it. All right, second thing is how to hire. Okay, so a lot of people know, okay, I know I need to hire, I have the money for it. How do I find people? So there's gonna be a few things, all right? First thing I like to do is post to my personal list or Facebook group. So if I have a Facebook group, okay, Facebook group, personal list. Okay. Like email, right? So that goes the same thing, email. My wall, right? So first thing is there, do the low hanging fruit. Do it with people who either have previously been a client or know more about you. And you'll find that if you get previous clients who really love what you do and they'd rather work for you than start their own business, and you'll find some people are like that. They'll start their own business, they didn't realize how hard it was gonna be, they don't wanna do it long term, and so they'll go ahead and wanna work for you. That's one of the best ways to do it, and I can't spell, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've been in school. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, let's say that's not an option and you just can't do that. Here's my favorite places to go in order. So first place I would go is ZipRecruiter. Okay, I really like ZipRecruiter just because it's worked well for me. I think I've found 90+% of my employees either from here first or ZipRecruiter, okay? I think actually everybody. So it's either been here or from ZipRecruiter. Now, another one that a lot of people like that I'm not as big a fan of is Indeed. And I hope 1 million people watch this video so that Indeed loses business, because Indeed was really difficult for me. I'm not really sure what the deal was, but they always said that my business seemed like it was an MLM or something weird, and it's not at all. So it was always frustrating. But Indeed is one I've heard that a lot of people use, just apparently they don't want me to use it. So Indeed would be the second one. After that, there are other places, like you can go to Craigslist and stuff like that, but ultimately, if you do it right, you can usually get your employees through here because you do have to pay for it. There's a small fee, and anytime you pay a fee, it's gonna be a higher quality of client, and it's gonna bring you better people because people will take it more seriously. You can find someone on Craigslist, but it's free, so it's not always the best quality. So how to hire is, I would spend your time either in your personal network, and if not, then go on Indeed or ZipRecruiter, because if you haven't met them, you can put them through a, application process. And if someone's going, well, Tanner, what does that look like? Pretty simply is you need to send them I get them on a call actually. Get them on a 15-minute call. And this is what we do, is you get them on a call, ask some basic questions. What's your goal? What skill sets do you have? See how they respond to you. See if they're quote unquote normal, right? If they have aspirations, if you see them working for your business a long time. One of the biggest things in a business that can kill it is attrition, right? The longer you can keep clients around, the longer you can keep employees around, it's better, because ultimately it keeps longevity and people get better and better instead of constantly having to rehire. So that's what I would do. And then if it goes well, you give them a practice run. So if it's a sales rep, or it's some type of management position, give them some type of task, train them, give them training that you don't have to spend a lot of time on, like videos to watch or worksheets. And then after they've done that, give them a task. After they've done that, you should have a pretty good idea if they're a good fit for your company. And the number one waste of time is if you hire them, spend a ton of time training, and then have to fire them. So make sure from the get-go, they're a good fit. All right, so the last thing is that what positions and in what order. Okay, so one of my clients was saying, hey Tanner, who should I hire first and in what order? Okay, so here's what I would do if you have a online business, okay? Because it's gonna change for different types of businesses, but here's what I would do. First thing is any type of task that takes a ton of time, but it's highly inefficient. So messaging, replying to emails, anything like that. So we'll just put messaging, okay? Anything that's really mundane, that takes a ton of your time. Now, if you message a lot for your sales, which an online business is very normal, make sure they're trained up. Like, you cannot just hire someone and say good luck. You have to give them SOPs, which is standard operating procedures and protocols to follow. But once you get that done, that usually will take the most of your time. So that's the first thing I did in my business. Second thing I did was sales, okay? Because again, sales took the next most amount of my time. An hour sales call, again, if you're doing 5 a day, it takes 5 hours. It took a ton of my time. So I first did messaging, any type of mundane task, messaging, support, like any little task that just isn't highly efficient, but it takes a lot of time. And then I did sales, so I built a sales team, okay? Last thing I did was ads, okay? Reason for this is like the heartbeat of an online business, especially if you're gonna scale to high levels. You wanna get to $1 million a year, 2 million, whatever. You're gonna spend a lot of money on ads. And if you do ads improperly, right? If you do ads in the wrong fashion, it's gonna make it really difficult, because if you outsource this to someone and they F it up, this feeds everything else. So the ads feed the messaging and the ads also feed the sales. So the number one thing you're gonna wanna do is probably outsource this last, because giving someone control of your business and not knowing how it works, or they screw that up, it will mess everything else up. I didn't outsource my ads and bring in a media buyer until I was doing about 20, 30K a month in ad spend. Okay, so the revenue was over 6 figures and I was doing 20 to 30K a month in ad spend. Once you do that, then you can really start to work on the business, because now you can start putting your time and effort into other products. But this is what I would do. If you're in some type of high ticket service, even a low ticket service, get rid of the mundane tasks first that take the most of your time. Next thing for me was sales. Now, that could be ads for some people, but usually, ads, honestly, once you get it down, could only take 15, 20 minutes a day. It doesn't take very long. Sales, though, takes hours. So again, I went in order of what took the most time, what was the most mundane, what was the easiest to train on, and then I eventually got rid of that just so I could keep growing my business, and I didn't want to do it forever. So That's how I would do it, where to do it, and in what positions and in what order. As always, guys, I hope this video is super informative for you. I love shooting these types of videos. If you have certain types you want, drop it in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, see you in the next one.